Next, I would like to show you how can you generate a list of possible email addresses that belong to a certain person. So let's say that you are looking for someone's called Saad Saraj. A possible email address might be s and then saraj@gmail.yahoo.com, or Saad and then s, which is the first letter of the last name, and then at domainname.com, or saad.saraj or saadsaraj@example.com. So we need to generate a list and then exclude all email addresses that are not valid, that cannot receive emails, and then we might guess what email address belongs to the person that we are looking for. Now let me show you a real life example. I'm going to use what's called an email permutator, which will allow me to generate a list of possible email addresses. So since we are looking for Rishi Kabra, I'm going to say that the first name is Rishi and the last name is Kabra. And if the person has any middle name or nickname, then we can add it in here. In our case, the middle name of Rishi Kabra is Raj, like this. And then we can add the domain name. So we can say at gmail.com, or we can add more domains. So at hotmail.com or at yahoo.com. So after this, you are going to generate this list by clicking on permutate. And this is the list with 92 possible emails. I'm going to copy all of the email addresses and then put them in my notepad. And since I know that Rishi Kabra email start with R, so if we looked at his Facebook account, we can see that his email address starts with R and ends with 2. And obviously none of these emails ends with number 2 because we didn't define this before. But this is only an example when you are searching for someone's email that uses only his first or last name, or a certain nickname, or first, middle name, and last name, etc. So right now we need to exclude all email addresses that does not start with R and are hotmail.com because we can see that he's using at gmail.com. And now I only have 29 email addresses that are only gmail.com that start with the letter R. So the next step is to verify which email address is valid and which email address is not valid. So I'm going to copy the list and then go to Gmail and then compose an email and then paste all the emails. So Ctrl A to select all and then Ctrl C. And here I'm going to say Ctrl V to paste. Now, as you can see, we were able to find some profile pictures, and all the accounts or email addresses that have a profile pictures are valid email addresses. Not only that, but if we have hovered over a certain email address that does not have a profile picture, from my experience, if the profile picture is blue like this does mean that this is an invalid email address, especially that it uses an underscore, because Gmail does not support using underscore in its emails. But if we have looked at another email like this one, this email address cannot be used because it's very short. So if you have tried to create a Gmail account and you have only added 5 or 6 letters, then you will be asked to enter more letters to create an email address. And Gmail does not use minuses, it only accepts dots in its emails. So all of these emails has to be removed that contain an underscore or a hyphen. So we already know that Rishi Kabra email address ends with 132, which is why it's not displayed in here. But what you can do is always generate a list with his usernames. For example, you can say Rishi Kabra 132 like this and leave this empty, only add a space and remove this and then say permutate. And this will generate possible email addresses with the username. Another easy method that you can use is by using a website called experto.com. So let me show you an example. You will find the link in the resources of this lecture. All you have to do is to enter the person's name. So let's say Rishi Kabra like this, and then say at gmail.com and then click on Find Email, and this will also generate a list of possible emails. And the cool thing is, this website will also check whether these email addresses are valid or not. So we can only copy the email addresses that are valid. So in this lecture, you have learned how you can generate a list of possible email addresses, and then how you can verify this list of email addresses to see what email address is valid and what is not.